Okay, Disney needs to come down because apparently somebody at D23 looked at the calendar and said, you know what people need right now? 7 new reasons to argue on the internet. And Disney delivered. We got a new X-Men cast, Frozen 3, Coco 2, Incredibles 3, more Marvel, more Star Wars. And at this point, I don't know whether D23 is a fan event or Disney checking which childhood memories still have access to our bank accounts. Because apparently, all of them. But before we get into what Disney announced, if you're sitting there thinking, Teacher Lee, what in the world is D23? You're fine. You didn't miss a mandatory Disney orientation. D23 is basically Disney's huge fan event where the company brings out upcoming movies, shows, actors, footage, announcements. And thousands of grown adults collectively discover that they are absolutely not over their childhood. This year, Disney came prepared. Let's start with the X-Men because Marvel finally revealed the cast of its upcoming X-Men movie. Sadie Sink is Jean Grey, Kit Connor is Cyclops, Christopher Abbott is Professor X, Indy Navarrete is Rogue, Adam Driver is Mr. Sinister, and Maya Boyd is Storm. Now, if your immediate reaction was, wait, who is Maya Boyd? That's actually what makes this interesting because she isn't coming into this as one of Hollywood's biggest movie stars. Maya comes from Broadway. She made her Broadway debut in Merrily We Roll Along and later played Juliet in Juliet. Now she is going to play Storm, not random mutant number 4. Storm. Aurora Monroe, one of the most recognizable X-Men characters ever, a character previously played on screen by Halle Berry and Alexandra Shipp. So Maya is basically walking into a room where millions of people already have an opinion about what Storm should look like, sound like, and feel like. No pressure, girl. Just an entire fandom watching. Very relaxing first day at work. And Marvel has plenty of time to let everybody debate it because the new X-Men isn't scheduled until May 2028. Which means we have almost 2 years of she doesn't look like Storm. She's Storm. My Storm would never. Actually, if you read issue number 173 from 1984, sir, the movie haven't even filmed yet. Please, drink some water. But then, Disney moved on and decided Marvel fans shouldn't be the only people emotionally destabilized that evening because Frozen is back. Yes, Anna and Elsa. Again. Frozen 3 is coming in November 2027, and the story picks up with Anna preparing to get married while a mysterious new female antagonist enters the picture. Kristen Bell and Idina Menzel appeared at D23. Josh Gad was there. There are new songs, and somewhere in America, a parent who survived Let It Go in 2013 just sat upright in bed for absolutely no reason. They felt it. They don't know why, but they felt it. Because we're about to do this again. New Frozen songs, new merchandise, new costumes. And eventually, one song your child discovers and decides the entire household needs to hear 47 times before breakfast. Welcome back, everyone. And then Pixar said, oh, you thought we were finished touching your childhood? That's adorable. Coco 2. Miguel is coming back. He's older now. Several years have passed, and the sequel is currently scheduled for November 2029. 2029! We are discussing a movie that is 3 years away. I don't even know what I'm having for dinner tomorrow. Disney already has me thinking about Miguel's problems in 2029. Priorities. But this one is interesting because Coco isn't exactly a movie people remember casually. You know what I mean? Nobody says, oh yeah, Coco, cute little movie. No. Coco had grown adults staring at an animated grandmother while pretending there was suddenly something in their eye. And if you watched it with somebody you loved, Oh, that's a different situation. Because sometimes you don't remember a movie only because of the story. You remember who was sitting beside you when you watched it. You hold that thought. We'll come back to it. Because Pixar still wasn't finished. Incredibles 3. The Parr family is coming back, and this time the children are apparently going to have a much bigger role. And honestly, that feels appropriate because when The Incredibles came out in 2004, some of us watching Dash run around thinking, wow, super speed. Now we're adults watching Bob Parr stretch his back and going, actually, tell me more about his health insurance. Life comes at you fast. 1 minute you're identifying with the superhero children. 20 years later, you're looking at Mr. Incredible thinking, you know what? He probably is retired. And Disney still had more. Marvel showed material from Avengers Doomsday. Paul Bettany is returning as Vision in VisionQuest, with James Spader returning as Ultron. Ryan Gosling showed up for Star Wars Starfighter. At some point, I imagine Disney executives backstage just going, what else do we own? Everything. Excellent. Bring out another actor. But here's the thing. After all the announcements, all the casting, all the release dates, I started thinking about why events like this work so well. Because Disney isn't only announcing movies, they are reopening memories. Think about it. When I say Frozen, you probably don't only think about Elsa. Maybe you remember your daughter wearing that dress everywhere. Maybe you remember your niece singing, "Let It Go," until the adults in the house were quietly considering relocating. Maybe you were the child and now you're an adult. When I say The Incredibles, somebody watching this remembers being 10 years old. When I say Coco, somebody remembers a person who isn't sitting beside them anymore. And suddenly, this stops being about sequels because the movie stayed where it was. You didn't. You got older. Your family changed. You moved. You fell in love. Maybe you fell out of love. You became somebody's parents. You lost people. You made friends you thought would be there forever. Some stayed. Some didn't. And all this time, these characters were just sitting there, frozen in the version of the story where you left them, until somebody says, "They're coming back!" And suddenly, you remember who you were the last time you saw them. That's nostalgia. And Disney understands it ridiculously well. Of course, there's business behind sequels. Let's not pretend Mickey Mouse is running a charity. Disney itself has repeatedly emphasized how valuable its established franchises are. But nostalgia works because the company isn't starting from zero. It's walking into a room in your brain that already has furniture. And maybe that's why some people get ridiculously emotional when an old movie comes back. It isn't necessarily because they desperately needed another sequel. Sometimes they miss the person they were when the original existed. Maybe life felt simpler. Maybe everybody was still home. Maybe your parents were younger. Maybe you were younger. Maybe the biggest problem you had was whether your mom would let you watch another movie before bedtime. And now you've got bills, a job, responsibility, a back that makes suspicious noises when you stand up, and Disney says, "Hey, remember The Incredibles?" Yes, Disney. Unfortunately, I remember everything. So yes, D23 gave us X-Men, Frozen 3, Coco 2, Incredibles 3, Marvel, Star Wars, and enough upcoming movies to keep the internet arguing until at least 2029. But I don't think the most interesting question is, which movie are you excited to see? I think it's something else. Because now, this leaves us with one question. What movie takes you back to a version of yourself that doesn't exist anymore? Not necessarily your favorite movie, the one that takes you back. And if you're comfortable sharing it, tell me the movie and tell me who were you when you first watched it.